I got this bike in around 1995, 96. It was a 65 Panhead chopper. I got it from a local Harley dealer, and it hadn't run in quite a few years. And at the time, I could have bought this one, 46 knuckle in a swing arm frame, or a brand new Sportster, all for the same price. And I chose this bike. It was cool. It was period, and it ran really, really well. So that was the beginning for me. That was when I started riding older bikes. I went and picked up the bike in the middle of a Canadian prairie winter storm. It was intense, but we got it back, and I spent the next week riding it around in the snow, and then took it down to the frame. Hadn't even made a payment on it yet, and started building it. Every winter after that, I tore the bike down, trying to get it a little bit better here and there until I got to this point, and really went to town on it. Got a custom paint job by Jamie the Flame, and went through the bike, rewired it, everything. It came out pretty nice. I was pretty happy with it. It was very, it was out there. It was loud. It was upsweep fishtails. The bike ran flawless. It was such a great bike back then. This weekend will always stand out for me. I got the paint back on a Thursday night. The painter told me, do not touch it till at least tomorrow. And Friday night, we started putting it together. I slept for a couple hours Friday night. And when I woke up Saturday morning, I didn't stop until I got it to the Marion Show and Shine put on by the Winnipeg Harley Riders Association. I rode it in, and it was quite a moment. One of the guys who put on the show was at my house at like 6 o'clock the night before, and he just couldn't believe I rode it in the next day. But I never slept throughout the night, just kept going. The only problem I had was I couldn't leave it alone. I always wanted to build more on it. I always wanted to try different things and, try different fenders, build oil tanks, build different sheet metal, just change up the bars, do this, do that. And, it was such a nice bike. It's kind of a shame I took it apart and redid it, winter after winter. This was my brother's bike also there. It was pretty cool having a pan and a shovel, a couple of young guys, we were in our 20s, just having a hell of a lot of fun riding old bikes and building them every winter, and just, having fun. Isn't that what it's all about? With every winter that we took our bikes apart and reassembled them, rebuilt them, we learned. You learn what works, what doesn't. You can see me cutting up the fender. It's because I used a worn out tire when I made the fender, and when I put a new one on, there wasn't enough room to adjust my chain, so I had to cut it, and it's kind of sad to see that, but whatever. It was just had to do what I had to do, and we had a lot of fun. Like, we're constantly playing around with bikes. In 1999, I blew up the motor of my pan and got a chance to get this rebuilt shovel, and it's been in the bike ever since. It's such a solid bike. It's an 80 cubic inch. That motor runs so hard. It's so much faster than the pan. At the time, I rebuilt the transmission and changed the cases, the transmission case, and got those Pat Kennedy adjustable triple trees, and just kept learning, kept trying different things. Here I am taking two trailer fenders and cutting them up, welding them together. This is I'm still in my 20s. I'm not a welder or fabricator. I just, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to learn and try. And, you only fail if you don't try. I knew the look I wanted on this fender. It was to mimic an old Springer fender, and I had my ideas, and I did a lot of work here. I pie cut it so it would follow the contour of the tire perfectly. Use a radius rod onto the axle so you can get that perfect radius, so it matches perfect. Came out really well, and it's such a strong fender, and had a lot of fun building it. Here is the fender. I mean, this has got some scratches and stuff over the years now, but you can see it mimics like a Springer fender. And what I did is, you can see in all the video and pictures, this is double lip, double wide. So these are very thick fenders and super solid. Like you can jump on this thing, it ain't moving. So you can see this is the fender that I took two trailer fenders, cut the centers out, and then split them, added an inch or two, and then radiated them with a pie cut, and then re-welded them all. At the time, I only had a MIG welder, so I didn't have my TIG, and so I did a lot of forming after all the welding. I ground it all, but it looks good. Super solid. Here's some parts I made for this bike. Speedometer mount, the rear fender struts. These were out of stainless. Here are the struts. You can see after the pictures show I was drilling the holes on a drill press. Again, these are super solid. I'm not sure, probably 1/8 of an inch or more. It's all stainless hardware. And there's a brake anchor I made also.
I got this gas tank made from a local car builder. He used the front section of my King Sportster tank and extended it quite a bit. After that, I added the mounts to mount it to the bike. I added the petcock, the filler cap, just playing around, just changing the look of the bike. And with the Pat Kennedy triple trees, it changed everything about the bike. The stance, how low it was to the ground, it just changed so much. At this time, I'm still sporting that Jammer front wheel from about 1978. Doing lots of testing on it, just making sure everything's good before I get a real paint job again on it. Keep building it, keep trying different things, having fun, just riding the hell out of it. And some goofing off, as you can see. This was a trip to northern BC with buddy Jim to visit his brother. When we got out there, Jim took my bike for a ride. He asked me to pull the kickstand out because it was in a really bad spot underneath the 3-inch belt. I saw that the frame was cracked, and that's what I had a little bit of a vibration, and that was why. But we fixed it up at a heavy-duty trailer shop or mechanic shop and proceeded on, did about 1,400 kilometers on 3 shovelheads through the Yukon. It was incredible scenery. Bike ran flawless again. Such a great experience. I highly recommend it. With new paint came the Valdez. It still leaks oil, so hence the name. Little brother riding my chopper. He didn't go far. It was hard for him to reach the pedals.
Here's the old shovel. Was a pan for many years. Still looks good, still runs good. If you're wondering about the black fender, my blue one broke and literally fell underneath a car and got driven over. Here's the oil tank. So you'll notice there's no mount here to the backbone. All the plumbing is underneath. So it's all comes in. This hose comes in and deposits on the opposite. No, this one's a feeder, so that one gets fed there. But one of the depositors goes to the other side of the tank and drops the oil, so it gets optimum cooling because the hot oil is getting dropped on the opposite side and the feeder's on the complete opposite side. One of the things I did is when I raked the front end out using those Panhead triple trees, my kickstand was way too long. So I had to take this one and I don't know, cut off like 4 or 5 inches, ground the bottom down, and then got it re-chromed. So you don't have to buy a new one, just cut your old one up. There's the speedo mount that you can see I cut out from just flat stock of aluminum. It's not perfect, but it works. So we got a GMA front brake that does enough stopping. You know, just your typical little 5 or 6 inch headlight. And in the front here, we got the got a cover I made on that 3-inch belt. That's off I think a Pontiac Strato Chief. I think it's off the front fender. Looks cool and it's spinning. And the clutch plate is marked Trailer Park Choppers. My brother got that for me years ago. He got it made. That's a little bit of an oil deflector kind of chain guard made just to keep the bike a little bit clean, because always a little bit of oil comes out the transmission. Again, you can see the oil tank nice and clean, no mounts. It's all hung from underneath. Got the key here, really nice and simple and easy to access. Everything was polished at one point. I did lots of polishing back in the day, and this was all polished, but it isn't very nice. Now it's just dirty. And there's our back mount for a tail light. I've tried all kinds of different versions. That's the one that's never cracked, never broken. So it's just a kind of a 45 round disc, 3 different bolts, and it works quite well. It's worked for 15 years. Before that, I must have broke I don't know how many. And here's a stainless chain guard. Yeah, the holes aren't perfect, but I can tell you one thing. I had a chain let go, came up, smacked my fender. That chain guard helped out a lot. So one of the things you're going to notice on this is the rake. And you can see how the neck and the tubes aren't in alignment. So that's accomplished by a set of Panhead triple trees. These were pretty high end back in the day. You can see underneath Tombstone, Arizona, Panhead. So what's neat about these is they're adjustable for rake. These are serrated here, and you can move this forward or back. So you can, and then there's 2 positions at the top. So I can take this and I can rake it straight down, so it's parallel, or even raked to the neck, or I can drop the front of that frame on the ground. I think right now the frame is about 2 1/4 or 2 3/4 off the road. It's really low. If I remember correctly, from the seat down, it's about 23 inches. So it's very low. And those are pretty cool triple trees. I did a bunch of polishing for those in trade. Made these handlebars, they're stainless steel. Lost the mirror, so I put this on. That's why it's black. Here's the tank. Custom cap got made. Got that all welded in. It's got rubber mounts on the bottom. Super strong tank. Has the look I wanted. You can get a lot of fuel because your filler cap's right at the top. Part, I lost a cap I had made on the last run. But this is like an old jammer cover. It's for drag racing. And you'll notice it doesn't have the crossover bar for leverage. So this cable goes straight up to the clutch, and it's a man's clutch. It's really tough to pull in, but I'm used to it. Found the old points cover in one of my part stashes. The horn's hidden underneath the transmission. The last piece of the puzzle on this bike is the seat. I made this in 2009. Learned how to do all the hand tooling. Made the base. Did the foam. Did all the stitching. This is a double whip cross stitch, I think. And the only thing that needs is wear and tear to kind of soften it up and, really finish this bike off. Love the look of it. The brown against the blue. It's been fun. This bike's been through lots with me, and never sell it. Just too many memories. I'll pass this one along to Waylon, and he can ride it. Still starts nice and easy, runs solid. It's got a good bark to it. This has always been a fun bike. It's just in the last 10 years, kind of got into these bikes, finishing up the Panhead, more flatheads and stuff. And I've kind of put this one on the back burner. It's kind of sad because I've had so much fun with it. But one day I'll get back on it. I ride it usually once a year, twice a year, But just a flood of memories when you look at this, for me, when I look at this bike. Hope you enjoyed that video. And next to come will be the evolution of this Panhead from a frame, a set of cases, and a set of heads. The frame was bent and broken. The cases were blown up at one point, and a set of heads that I don't even know if I used. But that one took me 22 years to build. Using almost all stock Harley parts and almost all found locally. So like and subscribe. This is what we do. This is who we are. We are Save the Rust.